gets to public hearing. It's our procedure, and this bill will definitely get
No. Chair, I rule you out of order. What he said is correct. Is correct. Please, withdraw what you have said.
The interpretation clause, a bill without an interpretation clause, Mr. Speaker, is a blind bill, subject to abuse and subject to also to the whims and caprices of whoever that is going to interpret that law. So all the bills, with the exception, only the tax administration bill has interpretation clause. Others do not have, all the three. Therefore, we must ensure that there is an interpretation clause on the other three bills. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I know as the chairman of the House Committee on University Education, the wonderful job TED Fund is doing in the education sector. Therefore, my position is that these agencies, TED Fund, NIDA, NASENI, should be retained. The clause dealing with their systematic phasing out should be completely deleted, Mr. Speaker. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Fulata, 2 minutes more.
I've not even started.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, the bills, all the bills have inconsistency clauses, equating them with the Constitution. I'm here, for example, to give an example with section 197, 198, 199, 200, 2001, and 2002 especially, making statements on inconsistency. Any bill that is inconsistent with this act is termed null and void. All the inconsistency clauses should be removed. And the bills also seek to amend over 40 acts which have not been placed before us. Those 40 acts should be placed before us so that we compare against those bills. About 40 acts are being repealed and being phased out by these acts that we are dealing with, Mr. Speaker. Then I'm also putting it forward that Section 38 of the Taxation Act.
We have other honorable members queued up that they
Section
want to
38.
talk. Please round up.
Section 38 presents a position of double taxation. If you are buying a property, the buyer will pay tax. Also, the seller will pay tax. This amount to double taxation. And finally, my position on the inheritance tax. Inheritance tax, as a Muslim, we don't tolerate inheritance tax. You don't take away from the property, from the wealth of the orphan, and give it away to any other person, Mr. Speaker. Finally, I posit that the VAT sharing formula should be based on 50% equity, 20% population, 30% reservation. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
You differing from the
man, Honorable Ali Isa JC, PhD, representing Balanga, Billiri Federal Constituency. I am from Gombe State and the minority whip of the House. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, let me start by commending the leadership and the honorable Speaker for taking time to do more consultations, particularly on this bill that Nigerians are worried about, that Nigerians have so many concerns about this bill. Mr. Speaker, you have saved a lot of issues or crises last year when there was so much pressure that the National Assembly should quickly take the bill within the shortest period of time. The consultations have enlightened a lot of Nigerians, but we still have a lot of concern. We have concern, Nigerians have a lot of concern, and I believe this House that belongs to the House of Nigerians will do the needful at appropriate time. Mr. Speaker, some of the areas of concern by me and a lot of Nigerians, particularly we that are at the lower level, Nigerians are very, very concerned.
How low?
No, not my height. Not my height, Mr.
Thank you, Minority Leader, for the correction.
Mr. Speaker, Section 146 proposes a gradual increase from the current 7.5% to 10% this year, then next year to 12.5% on VAT, that is value-added tax. While government can come with a lot of policies that can allow them implement some of their things, but still government have to also look at the economic hardships Nigerians are facing. The increase will definitely cause a lot of increase, particularly on food item, transportations, and the living standard of a common man. So government have to look at that, and maybe when at appropriate time the National Assembly has to look at ways, if there's any way we can even reduce the tax so that Nigerians can have a lot of opportunities. Also, there's also introductions of development levy, which will also cause a lot of additional taxes. Apart from the recent increases in petrol, after removal of subsidy, the increase in electricity tariffs, and a lot of other increases, Nigerians are watching and waiting to see if there's other opportunities to support or assist the common man. Mr. Speaker, today, the international organizations have analyzed the Nigerian life expectancy rate to above 50%. I'm also the whip. And I'm also the whip. You are also a whip, I'm also a whip. So my whip may be more stronger than yours. Mr. Speaker, these are areas that I'm sure that the House will definitely address it and ensure that we listen to the Nigerians. We listen to the areas that Nigerians want us to ensure we make some few amendments to accommodate the poor man, to ensure that we are working for the people. We are working for Nigerians. Because of time, during the public hearing, if the bill reaches there, we will also make some submissions to do all the necessary things. Mr. Speaker, my very honorable colleague, I rise to make that my comment and also to commend the Speaker and the leadership for showing maturity in handling these affairs from day one to day. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Gets to public hearing. It's our procedure, and this bill will definitely
No. Chair, I rule you out of order. What he said is correct. Is correct. Please, withdraw what you have said.
start by observing that I hope we are protected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I said I want to start by making an observation that all over the world, reforms are not the easiest things to accomplish. Reforms are usually...
Order, please.
Reforms are usually very painful, very disruptive. But reforms are always essential, needed, especially when countries realize the fact that they need to hurry up in the journey of development. And so I want to start by commending the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is the leader of government, who has brought this reform bill to the National Assembly. Because if we look at our tax laws in Nigeria, they have been some of the most obsolete, some of the most duplicative, if not multiplicative, of tax laws anywhere in the world. And if we're going to be honest with ourselves, these have resulted in stunted growth in most of our sectors, as well as dissuade investors from coming into this country to exploit and explore the greater opportunities of the resources that we have because of the lack of ease of doing business resulting from this multiplicity of taxes. So having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to also say, in line with what my leader said earlier, that whatever system, policy, or law or regulation that we are bringing on board, the first consideration must be the welfare of the majority of the Nigerian people, those who can hardly afford to have 3 square meals, to afford good education, good healthcare system. And so when we look at any piece of legislation being proposed by the executive, especially as minorities, we ask ourselves, how does this law make life easier for the common man? How does it make it easier for people to access the basic things of life and contribute meaningfully to economic development? According to the majority leader in the lead debate, he has enunciated a lot of benefit that we have seen here, which I also adopt. But I want to say one more, Mr. Speaker, and that has to do with the principle of entrenching true federalism. Whatever legislation we are going to pass must ensure that more monies go to subnationals, the local government, the state government, because they are the closer tiers of government to the people. And this particular bill, I want to note, has made adequate provision for having more of the VAT proceed going to state government from what used to be the share of the federal government, from 15% to 10%, which I think is very, very commendable. Just like when the issue of the fuel subsidy came on board. Now more state and local government get more money. And the attention of Nigerians must be on how government that earn more money will now spend those money. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I support the general principles of this bill, and I'm sure that by the time it gets to the public hearing stage, more members of the public and interest will be able to come on board to add their voice on the need for us to have this reform on time, so that it doesn't become, like the reform in the oil sector that was delayed for over 20 years, that by the time we just woke up to pass the Petroleum Industry Act, it was almost becoming belated. I do hope that this bill passes through the second reading, Mr. Speaker, and I do support the second reading motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Salami. The next person based on my list here is going to be Honorable Stanley.